Thomas. How are you doing today?
Hey, Marius. Thank you. Doing very well. And thank you for having me. Very excited to be here with Meet Magento Baltics.
I'm personally very excited to meet you as well, because we have used your product many times over on several projects that we have developed here at ScandiWeb, and I'm genuinely excited to actually see and speak to you. You have prepared a presentation today. Tell us in a few words, what is it going to be about, and what do you do at Clevo?
Yeah, so, well, I guess first what we do at Clevo. So as you mentioned as well, we're a AI-powered product discovery solution for e-commerce. So essentially, what we do is that we help online retailers show the right products at the right time in order to convert those products and to overall improve the customer experience. Essentially making sure that people that are arriving at an online store, they're able to find the products that they are interested in. And today I will be talking more around product discovery and what are some easy steps that online retailers can actually do to improve this by themselves. And what are sort of the key takeaways of product discovery and what you should think about when it comes to product discovery.
Sounds really exciting. The stage is all yours. I'll let you go through the presentation. I'll keep my ears open, and hopefully we get some interesting questions from the audience as well.
Thank you very much. Let me just see if I can. I hope you can see my screen at the moment. I'll take that as a yes.
Yes, we can.
Perfect, thank you. So as mentioned today, I'll be talking a little bit about how you can actually optimize your product discovery. So I will give you basically 6 steps that we're going to look at when it comes to product discovery, and what are sort of the key takeaway there and what you should think about. Before I start, however, I want you to imagine basically that I assume that you probably have close to hundreds, if not even thousands of visitors coming to your website every day. Now, some of these visitors, they do convert, but a lot of them don't. And in fact, as much as 30% to up to 60%, they will abandon a site or bounce if they don't find the products they are looking for. So essentially, if they result at a no result found page, they will exit the site and leave the site. So essentially, a lot of more people could convert, but because they're having a bad experience or they're not seeing the products they want, they're exiting the site. And this is basically something that online retailers are paying for. So they're paying basically for every customer that has a bad experience, every customer that hits a dead end, and even every customer that is a good match, but the customer might think that you don't have the product that they want, but you might actually have it, but they're not able to find it. And the worst part about this is that customer with negative experiences simply won't come back. And that is because negative bias is a real thing. If we have a bad experience, more often than not, we do not want to relive that experience. Fortunately, there are things we can do to tackle these kinds of stuff. So if, for example, you're looking to decrease your bounce rate, improve your conversion rates, and in overall improve the customer experience, then product discovery might actually be something for you. And Gartner, who is a research and consultancy firm, they actually recently did a study around product discovery. And what they found was that product discovery is an untapped potential when it comes to driving revenue. And some of the key signs when there is product discovery issues are typical in the sense that customers are struggling to find products they're looking for. They're ending up at their no results found page. They're getting out of stock products. The merchandising teams are struggling to keep up with demands, trying to predict sort of the customer behavior, trying to optimize the site and spending a lot of time doing this manually. And product discovery is also an effective way to capitalize on all the traffic that is already coming to the site. So to really grow that traffic naturally. And as Mike Londis from Gartner said, he said that product discovery is a low-hanging fruit when it comes to the value or considering the value for money that product discovery has on the impact of conversions. So today, as mentioned, what I wanted to look at are essentially 6 aspects of the product discovery path that might either propel your customers to their end goal, which is checking out, or have a negative impact that sort of cause frictions in their customer journey. And a great customer experience, it is created by removing barriers that will stand in the customer's way. So what we want to do is that we want to try to make this entire journey as smooth as possible, all the way from start to the finish, without causing any barriers in between. And I wanted today focus on these 6 specific aspects of an e-commerce store. So we'll start with the navigation part of it. This is, how easy it is to find the tools needed to actually complete our tasks. Look at the home page, the search aspect, the browsing function. This browsing is more aimed at people who don't use search, for example, but are clicking their way through to find the additional products they want. The actual product page, as well as the checkout page. Now, if you have the possibility, what I recommend is having an open screen available, open your own store and just follow along as I talk around this, and just to see sort of, are you doing the things we consider are the right things, or do you find that there are maybe some improvements there? It could either be, just for your own beneficial thing that, all right, I'm smashing this, we're all good, or it could be, okay, we could improve upon this. But so starting with the navigation side of things, I think the most important part to do is to make sure that your site is easy to navigate, and especially highlighting the search aspect or the search bar on your e-commerce store. And as a best practice, what you would like to do is to make sure that this search bar is as visible and as clear as possible. So not hiding it behind an icon, and especially not behind those 3 lines on mobile behind the menu. We want to try to keep it as open as possible, both on desktop and mobile. And as a rule of thumb as well, make sure that the search is always at the same position, no matter where you are on the e-commerce store. So no matter where you're on the homepage or at a category page, it should also always be as visible. And now, why this is important that we highlight the search? Well, people who use search, they typically convert 3 to 5 times better than people who don't use search. So search is essentially your most effective conversion tool that you have at your disposal. And we've seen that merchants who actually have a very clear and prominent search bar, they can increase their usage of search, specifically from mobile, with 44%. And when you combine the additional orders from mobile with the already higher conversion rates, this will start to add up in the long run, and you will start to see an increase in revenue through this simple change. As another rule of thumb, what you should do with your search is to give shoppers an idea of what they can actually use with the search. So we see here this example from GF Smith. Not only is their search very visible and clear, but it's actually having a message saying that what I can search for. So depending, of course, on your industry, you might want to say to your shoppers that you could search by a brand, or you could search via a category, or you could use a specific attribute to find products. Not only will this make your search more attractive, but it will also encourage shoppers to actually use the search and can start their search journey. Another very important part, I think, when it comes to navigation that is very easily overlooked is content information, especially content that is relatable to after sales or content that supports sales. And as much as 68% of shoppers, they will actually view return policies before making a purchasing decision. So if this type of content is very, very difficult to find on your page, this might actually create a friction within the customer and might make the customer more hesitant to actually complete their purchase. But if you can bring out this information in a clear and easy way, this will sort of eliminate that issue the customer might have, or that hesitant the customer might have. And the best way to do this would be to make sure that it is visible through the search. So you could actually search for this, this information. And as you see on this example from Marimekko, which is a Finnish big brand, if I search for returns through their search, the search will actually generate me articles related to returns. And this in turn, eliminates that hesitant that I might have. Now, when a customer then is arriving at your store, the first thing they usually see is the home page. This is where their first reaction to your store. And from this home page, what you should strive to do is to give shoppers inspiration and an ideas of what are the sort of products they can expect on your side, overall inspiration of what they should be looking at. And the best way to do this is to make sure that you add product recommendations to your homepage. And if you can, the most effective way to do this is to use personalized product recommendations, so that the product recommendations that are shown are based on any type of behavior that I might have shown on this site previously. Now, however, if you can't show personalized product recommendations, what you should strive to do is to show either the newest arrivals, so the newest products, or the most popular products at this moment. Now, the keyword here is relevant and fresh. So the information shown here has to be relevant. It has to feel like it's fresh content. So either what you should try to do is to manually merchandise these recommendations on a daily basis, or you use an AI recommendation tool like Clevo to automate this process for you. And it is also a very good idea to make sure that the content shown is rich, so that you're showing the right information. So it could be price, it could be if the products are on sales, it could be variants of the product, it could be reviews, attributes, and so forth. And what we've seen with merchants who actually add relevant product recommendations directly to the homepage is that they have increased their conversion rate with 25% from the homepage after adding relevant product recommendations to the home screen. And now, once your customers have arrived at your store, as I mentioned earlier, the most effective tool of converting shoppers is your search. So what you should look at your store and figure or ask yourself is that, are you using auto suggestions within your search? So is your search function smart enough to predict where the search is heading? Is your search giving suggestions as customers are typing? And this is something that it's very valuable in a sense, because many customers, they don't really know, or often they don't know what are they actually looking for, what products are they searching for. It could also be that they're not sure what the product is called. So if your search can start to predict this pattern of what they are searching for and offer suggestions as they type, not only will this get customers to their end goal faster, but it will also offer them more relevant content. And also what's very good, or as a good rule of thumb, is to make sure that you're not only showing products in your search, but also other type of information, such as showing the categories and other type of content. You can see here on the example here from Eurokangas, which is another Finnish brand selling fabrics. If I type in the word black stripes, I think it says this in Finnish at the moment, but not only is this result showing me the products, but it's showing me the content first, it's showing me the categories, it's showing me the products. And what they've done that I think is very nicely here is that they've created a persistent search so that when I type on something, I then exit the search, I go back to the home screen, I go back to the search is persistent there and my searches still remain. And this is something that have allowed Eurokangas to actually increase their conversion rate from mobile with 20%. And another very important part when it comes to search, and I think this ties into product discovery in general, is to allow shoppers to make mistakes. You shouldn't lose out sales over a simple typo. And according to research that we did here at Clevo, as much as 26% of e-commerce stores cannot handle a misspelled word. Now, remember, most shoppers, they will abandon a store if they arrive at this no results found. So this is something we want to avoid at all costs. And preventing these issues is part of natural language processing, or NLP. And as you can see on this example, the example on the left-hand side, simple misspell is directly showing us no results. However, on the right-hand side, we have from made.com, not only is the search showing me suggestions as I type, but even as I misspell, the products shown are still very relevant for me, and they are exactly the type of products that I'm looking at. So a good search engine should always be able to handle misspells like this. And with solutions like Clevo, NLP is part of the system, and it requires no additional work from the merchants. And about natural language processing a little bit more, natural language processing is something we've seen growing rapidly in the last years. Natural language processing basically allows users to use the search function within e-commerce as they would sort of on Google. So it's kind of bringing that Google-esque search to e-commerce. And the major benefit that natural language processing has is that it greatly reduces the chance of at arriving at a no result found page. It allows shoppers to use these long and complex search queries, and it's able to use various attributes in your search. And an area where we see natural language processing greatly in use is through voice search, which is also something that is rapidly growing, specifically on mobile devices. Now, if, for example, you're using voice search, if you don't support natural language processing, basically it means that that voice search is more or less useless for you, because when you're using your voice, you tend to use it in a natural way. And this is what natural language processing allows. And just funny fact, we actually found out that as high as 54% of e-commerce stores cannot still handle natural language processing. So ideally, with natural language processing, what a search should be able to do is to not only find the appropriate products that I'm searching for, but also various attributes. So it could be a color attribute, it could be and a price attribute and a category, and it should still be able to show me the most or the relevant products that I'm looking for. And you can see here on made.com again, for example, I search for a query where it's red sofa under 500, and it's still giving me relevant results. And the search results, it should always be the same, of course, in the quick search or search overlay as it's on the search result page. And as mentioned, the major benefit of natural language processing is removing that chance of actually ending up at the no results found page, which again is something we want to avoid at all costs. But however, in the event that people do end up at this page, there are some steps we can take to kind of try to remove that negative experience from customers. So typically on this page, what you would strive to do is to make sure that you're showing your most popular products or products that you recommend at this page, and also giving customers some ideas and suggestions on how they can move on with their customer journey. So for example, I think Adidas here has a very nice example of this. They're not only showing the products that they recommend at the moment, but they're also showing some keywords that I could use to search for, and they're also showing their categories neatly organized and allowing me an easy way to actually go back and start over my search journey or my product journey. But as mentioned, this is a page we want to avoid at all costs. And I think another funny example of this is from this page called Hotel Chocolate. And as the name suggests, what they're doing is that they are selling chocolates. Now, when I search for the word chocolate on this store, it will actually give me 0 results with really no much more information. And sorry if there's anyone from Hotel Chocolate listening in, but this is an example that we want to avoid at all costs, because in most cases this creates frustration, and I bounced immediately, because if I can search for chocolate or chocolate shop, I'm not sure what they're selling. But then if we move on to the browsing aspect of product discovery, so this part is more aimed at the people who don't use search but are coming to the store and maybe start, going through categories and filtering down to find the products that they are looking for. The most effective way to use this is to add some form of personalization on your category pages. And this, of course, means that with personalization, we're showing the most relevant products for each and individual customer based upon whatever preferences they might have. Now, there are a few things to consider when it comes to this, of course, and that is to make sure that you have some form of reset window to your personalization so that it doesn't show outdated data. So you can imagine, for example, if you have someone that has been gift shopping for someone else, and when then they come into the store next time, the products that might be shown are highly irrelevant to him, because the products are now he's looking for him, he or she is looking for products for him or her instead of someone else. So it's a good idea to have some form of reset window, and also that your personalization is based more on user behavior rather than trying to sort customer groups by demographics, for example. Not only will this show you more relevant, or show the customers more relevant products, but it's also less maintenance heavy, and there's basically no risks included when it comes to privacy and so forth, but it's only based on your behavior on one specific side. And what we've seen when personalization is active is that there's a typical increase of 6% in the average order value. And even these small changes to either the average order value, the per session value, or the conversion rate, this will start to add up in the long run, combined with all the traffic that is already on the store. So these small changes combined together will make a big difference when it comes to the end. And another very important part when it comes to customers who tend to use, this browsing factor, is to allow shoppers to use filters effectively, both on the category pages and the search result pages. So you should look over at your site and figure out that, are the filters shown? Are they relevant for the products being shown? And can my customers, is it possible to multi-select various filters? We've seen a 5% increase in conversion rates when there is a multi-filter approach enabled. And ideally, with this multi-select filtering system, there should always be, it should be highlighted how many products are there associated to each filter. And as I start clicking on or start filtering these, the product should, of course, dynamically change, and should also notify me how many products are left. And this is a type of experience that Amazon has been doing for years and years, and customers are starting to become accustomed to this type of browsing experiences, and it's definitely something that is worth applying to your e-commerce store as well. Then I would like to move on to the actual product page. So when customers have identified a product that they really want, there are still things we can do to improve, the customer experience and also actually increase our average order value. So what you should strive to do is to add product recommendations to your product page. And at this product page, what we want to do is that we want to show complementary products of what is already shown. So for example, it could be, similar products or what other people viewed, stuff like this that really complement the product that I'm already looking at. And what we've seen with merchants who add these type of logics to their product pages is an increase of 7% in the average order value. But as with all product recommendations, the key point here again is to make sure that the products shown are relevant. Because if the products that are shown are not relevant at all, it might instead create a confusion and maybe even a frustrating experience. So relevancy, again, is very, very important. And the final thing that I wanted to highlight as well is the checkout page. And I think this is, again, easily something that is overlooked. So at your checkout page, again, what you want to do is use product recommendations. And I've used the word smart product recommendations because, again, the products that should be shown here has to be based on whatever type of products are already in the basket. So you cannot show, random products, but they actually have to have some form of correlation with the products that are in the basket. And I think, for example, for Rolly here, as an example, what they have is that they have a logic that says that if the basket size is under $85, the products that are shown at this stage cannot cost more than $50. So always has to be, related to that baskets or the products that are in the basket. Now, I know I went through some stuff, but just to sum up what we basically went through. So the 6 points that I would highly recommend you having a look at and evaluate how well these are working for you is the position of your search bar. Is it clearly visible? Is it highly exposed? Is it using a descriptive text in it, telling customers what they can search for? Is your search engine able to process misspellings and natural language? Does it show the right products even though you're misspelling? Can customers use multifaceted filterings on your category pages and search result pages? Make sure that your search is able to offer auto suggestions along with rich content, not only products but actually categories and any other type of content that might support sales. But also make sure that you have your product recommendations always fresh and up to date, displayed on your homepage and in the basket, as well as on the product page. And another good thing to consider is to show the recently viewed products, and this can be placed pretty much site-wide. Now, I hope this gave some ideas about product discovery and some of the issues that might actually cause a bit friction in the customer journey. More than happy to take any questions you might have, and also, happy to do a audit for anyone who might be interested, or you could just, contact me directly to get in touch, for example, for this report that I referred to a few times as well that we did here at Clevel. But other than that, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rasmus. It's been so insightful. So from what you're saying, it doesn't matter whether I write English, Scottish, Irish, Australian, or American. It's all the same.
So with Clevel, for example, there are some features that are language dependent. But long story short, Clevel does support all languages, and it is store specific. But to few languages, we have a more enhanced support where we can handle these insanely complex search queries. And basically what we do is that we automatically enrich the product data with synonyms that might be relevant for this specific industry. And these might be language specific.
Does it also do Cornish slang?
Sorry.
Does it also do some specific English regional slangs?
Well, essentially, it's all based on words that are found in a dictionary. So depends, I guess. But one thing, so for example, Clevo actually, it can learn new words by itself. So if Clevo starts to figure out that, there is a clear pattern here that people are using this word, they're getting a no result found, but then afterwards they are, moving to a specific page. Now, once Clevo figures this out, it will learn that by itself. But of course, there are other ways we can tackle this. So we can work in the backend with this. So to add synonyms, for example, for slang words specifically.
And that's essentially what the AI is about. It simply learns the patterns that users are making, and we set up some algorithm when does it make a decision, and it simply applies that pattern, memorizes it, and then makes use of it. Correct?
Precisely, that's exactly it. And overall, it keeps track of all this. So one thing is it's identifying the pattern. It's always looking at this, optimizing this, figuring out that people are, for example, searching for this, people are clicking on this, people are buying this. So constantly optimizing everything and making sure that everything stays relevant by itself.
Okay, it's been super insightful. Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we're out of time. I would love hanging on here talking to you about AI and search. It's a really exciting topic, but unfortunately we have to move on. I really hope we catch each other at some conference live as well. I'll catch you by the hand. But for today, thank you.
Likewise, thank you. My pleasure being here. And yeah, thank you.